Welcome back to A Gentleman's Life, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a watch review, and this is going to be of a military styled watch from the Marathon Watch Company. And this one's going to be a bit special and a bit different from the normal run-of-the-mill, if you will, military field watch. And that's what I'll actually explain first. So this watch was actually created as a reissue, limited edition reissue. This is the Marathon GGW113. So this is the original version from the 1980s. And it ran with a Benrus signed ETA 2801 hand wind movement. So when recently, a couple years ago, when the president of Marathon came across a batch of 600 new old stock Benrus signed 2801 movements, he bought them, and the Marathon worked on a reissue of this watch, which has now been released as the Marathon General Purpose Mechanical Limited Edition. And here you can kind of get the specifications. You can see here how they state that it's a reissue of the original, and this is called the General Purpose Mechanical, and it's a limited edition featuring the ETA 2801, which is a central seconds hand winding movement with 17 joules in the stainless steel case. And the specifications, you can see it's 36 millimeters in diameter, and the lug to lug is 43 millimeters. Now the lug width is 16 millimeters, which is pretty narrow, but you actually get used to it pretty easily. So let's move on to the actual watch. Set that aside for just a second. Alright, the packaging comes in rather utilitarian packaging, and that is because Marathon actually creates watches for the U.S. and Canadian military along with other militaries. And so they package their watches as such. So you can see here the kind of long numerical numbers for the Benrus limited edition. You can see the serial number, in this case the limited edition number, and then you can see all the other military required markings, watch, wrist, general purpose mechanical, stainless steel, the military type and class, and that information on the sleeve that goes on the outside of the box, and then the watch comes in that box. Now if we put those to the side, also within the box you get this certificate of authenticity, and this is just talking about the watch, and then is signed by the Vice President, hand signed, and then also a handwritten is the serial number. So mine is number 46 out of 600, and then stamped by Marathon. And then there's also in the box, there is the instructions for setting the time and the features or specifications of the watch. And I bought mine from a British company called Page & Cooper, so they also sent this nice little handwritten note to go along with it. And in dealing with Page & Cooper, I would highly recommend them. They were easy and a pleasure to deal with, and it was really fantastic. So I thought that was a nice touch from Page & Cooper. Now, going on to the watch, here it is, and you can see the military styled watch face. So you can see the 1 through 12 hour markers, and then inside of that 13 through 24 for the 24-hour time. You can see the 17 joules for the 2801, along with the H3 and radiation markers for the tritium tubes that are on the hands and the dial. It should be noted, Marathon actually make their own tritium tubes, and it actually works really well. And you can kind of see how it gives a little bit of depth to the dial, having the tritium tubes on there. It's really, really kind of neat. All the tritium markers are that greenish color, except for at the 12 o'clock, which is actually an orange color. And then moving on to the case, I thought I should note 36 millimeters across, as I mentioned before, but an interesting deviation from the original watch in the 1980s that this was styled after is the integrated bezel on this new limited edition, and it gives the case a really interesting look and curvature from all different angles. You can kind of see here how the case curves up to meet the sapphire crystal, and it just gives it a really interesting look. Pretty much any angle you look at, really interesting. Really nicely brushed stainless steel. You can see the same on the crown there, brushed just like the rest of the case, and with a slight shape difference there as well. You can kind of see there how it's not flat. Really interesting. So really simple, clean design, very much the military field watch style. The lug width, as I mentioned, is 16 millimeters, so it has this thin black nylon strap, but it's actually really comfortable and you get used to it pretty quick. It's not a true NATO. It doesn't fold over itself or anything. That is how that is. But you can see here that it doesn't actually fold over itself. It just slides through. And another thing that's also really interesting on this watch is if I slide the strap out of the way, and this is from their working with militaries, you'll see on the back, just like in the box on the manual, all the specifications for the watch. There we go. So you'll see again, watch, wrist, general purpose mechanical, the military specification number, the MIL PRF 46374G. Then you'll see the WW 194003SS for stainless steel, and Ben for the Benrus, the new old stock Benrus movement. 25 millicures for the tritium tubes. And then down at the bottom you'll also see that limited edition serial number. So the number 46, mine being the number, sorry, they're trying to get the light a little bit better for you. There you go. 46 out of the 600 total that were made. So I thought that was just really interesting and a bit different from most watches Swiss-made watches you come across, is that nice, interesting military specifications on the back of the case back. So I thought that was very interesting. I will first show you a loom shot. If you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to try to darken the room, and it's not super bright, but it glows all night, and you don't need to charge it to make it glow, being the tritium and slightly radioactive. And now we'll move on to a wrist shot for you to give you an idea of how it fits. My wrist is approximately 6.6 to 6.7 inches, depending on how much it's swelled for the day. It can be anywhere from 6.5 inches to 6.75 inches. And alright, so here you can see how it fits on my wrist. As mentioned, it is a little small, but it actually fits really, really well and is very comfortable. And it slips under a cuff if you have a cuff for work. I work in the military and I have like cuffs on my outer blouse, and it fits under the cuffs really well, which is actually surprised me a little bit considering how the bezel is built in, and it just feels like it would be a little bit taller than it looks. But the size is actually really nice, and it doesn't feel nearly as small as the 36 millimeters. And I really like it, and I think it's a really neat design, and the integrated bezel always gets me, and I really like the way it looks at almost any angle. You get kind of this cool effect from that integrated bezel and the way that it curves down in all directions. So I hope you all enjoyed my review of the Marathon General Purpose Mechanical Benrus Limited Edition. If you can find one of these watches, I think Page & Cooper may have a few left, and there may be some available from Marathon directly. But if you're into and enjoy military styled watches and like that hand wind with central seconds, I would highly suggest giving the watch a try. I've been really pleased, and I expect that it will work extremely well for many years to come. And I highly recommend Page & Cooper, and Marathon has proven to me to make very good, high-quality watches for quite the reasonable price. This I paid just over $500 US for, and I think it was an excellent purchase, and it will stay in my collection as one of my military field watches in my collection for the foreseeable future. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.